financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by THAV GROSS. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is disability. How do we deal with it? What's the right solution? How does that impact debt, taxes, and credit card debt? Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. Long topic name, but important one.
Jeffrey Linden.
Good morning, Ken.
Jeffrey Kirshner.
Hi, everybody.
Disability man. Good to see you.
Do you have a cape?
Underneath the jacket, I do.
Okay, I just wondering. I mean, he called
He
you
needs a-
disability
he
man.
needs
It's
a
like,
phone booth.
like
So I want-
Superman or
So I kinda
Batman.
wanna-
Disability man.
I want to take
Just a cane.
disability
Just have a cane.
because to me it's if you have a disability situation, typically what it means is you're going to be suffering from a loss of income because you're disabled. And if you're a normal family or person who has a mortgage, has credit cards, has car payments, and is living with their means based upon their income, and their income shuts down, that's going to create debt issues. And some people, even before that happens, they have credit card problems, they have tax problems, and they're still managing it because they have income, and all of a sudden their income's cut off because they're disabled. So I think the two topics fall together often because it's not, how often do you have a disability client that is financially wealthy by their own assets and means, and even though they're applying for disability income because they're disabled, they don't need the money?
A small minority.
Yeah, very unusual, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, question. This is not quite on the disability, but it's also workers' comp. Same sort of situation. I'm seeing a lot of people coming in to see me that have been denied workers' compensation over and over and over again, and they're not getting any money. And someday they're like, my doctor, I'm hoping he'll let me go back to work next month, 3 months from now, 6 months from now. But those disputes, whether it's Social Security disability or workers' comp, are you seeing more no's,
Denials.
so to speak?
Yeah, I mean, I always have. I mean, when it comes to workers' compensation, you're dealing with an insurance carrier, and they're not a friend at all, and so you see that all the time.
They
Because
say no whenever they can possibly say no, right?
They always,
Beyond that.
They always say no.
Anyway.
It's rare that they say yes at first. I mean, I don't see them, obviously, because they're getting paid, but they have an incentive to say no, because first of all, there's that percentage of people that will go away. The insurance company said no, or they
Oh, well,
send
we
them to the
give up.
doctor, and they give up, just like everything else. There's a percent that won't even think about fighting.
Anyone, you guys ever see the movie Rainmaker? It's a
Yeah.
John Grisham book,
The first book,
Rainmaker. Matt Damon's in the, it's young lawyer takes on, this wasn't a workers comp claim, but it was health insurance. And they just kept denying the son his health care coverage, sending letters back to the mother saying you're stupid and so on and so forth. It's a great movie. So if anyone out there, if you haven't watched it, I encourage you to watch Rainmaker. I think it's a wonderful, or even better yet, read the book. It was a great book. So what constitutes a disability?
Well, when we're
I
talking
mean,
about
I always say Brian is disabled, but that's a whole different story.
What?
He does. He says it all the time.
So, what qualifies as disability is being unable to
Just
work
kidding.
for 12 months or longer due to physical or a psychological or systemic
So you have
condition
to
or
be
disorder.
unable to work for 12 months or over?
That's
Okay.
correct.
You are not ever disabled.
I understand
Forget that.
Wait, is that the same set of rules, though, for workers' comp? I'm going to keep throwing that because there's so many.
Completely different.
Totally different area of law.
Correct.
Okay.
Two different
Workers'
systems.
comp is a work-related injury.
work-related injury, you can't go back and do your job, but then there's a whole other issue is whether or not there's other work that you could perform that pays your maximum pre-injury income level. And if not, whether or not you're looking for work that could pay some money. There's a whole intricacy. But again, similar though, but you can't work because of an injury or condition for comp as well.
So is one key distinction that if you qualify and you're disabled under the Social Security disability rules, then whether you could work and do other work is not really an issue? Or is it still an issue?
No, well, it's part of the equation, but they're two totally different systems. So when we're talking about workers' compensation, the condition has to be work-related. That's a key distinction between comp and Social Security. It has to be related,
to your job.
in other words, incurred in the course and scope of your employment for workers' compensation.
Okay, now what if your employer or you maintain short-term and long-term disability policies through employment, which is a lot of employers do have that as a benefit. If you are you injured at work and you're supposed to receive workers' comp, are you entitled to receive short-term disability also? Or is it one or the other?
Well, it should be one or the other, and the reason why is because with regard to these policies are typically for non-work-related conditions. You've got comp, you've got long-term or short-term disability or sickness and accident benefits. Those typically are for injuries or conditions you can't work but not work-related, but then you get workers' comp if it's work-related. But a lot of times what happens in these scenarios is initially that the insurance carrier is either denying the claim or they're delaying it, saying they're investigating whatever. And these people some people are fortunate enough to have these policies, so they collect on these policies. But what happens then is that these carriers who provide these policies, if you get comp, they get a lien on the case.
Mm-hmm.
So they then would take the comp benefit that is going to be paid and reimburse themselves from it?
Correct.
Because they paid you?
Correct. They have a lien now on the case because if it turns out to be it's a work-related condition, well, they're not a primary payer because it's for a work-related condition. They're for non-work-related.
So it's complicated.
So that short-term, long-term disability, which is private, how does that differ from Social Security disability, and who gets the money, and when does it get dispersed, and does Social Security get to collect back from private?
Well, now you're weaving a whole different ballgame. So a lot of times we see that in the Social Security realm with regard to people getting these benefits, but I think we're going to talk about that at the next break.
That's a game plan.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
You know, Dad always asked that we look after Mom when he passed away.
I know, but she insisted on moving down to the Villages, and now she has that new boyfriend, and I am worried. Maybe it's time to just call Samasco Law.
Take the stress out of your family's future. Reach out to Samasco Law and set a course through life's difficult times. Samasco Law, protecting what means most because that's what we do.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled.
Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, so Brian asked the $64 question. How do you deal with that issue?
Well, so right away, you get these policies, long-term or short-term disability policies. But what's interesting and bothersome to me is that either the employer pays for it, either you pay for it yourself, but they always have what's in the policy called a coordination of benefits clause. And
Right.
what it states is that if we're paying you benefits. If you get Social Security disability benefits, we get to recoup dollar for dollar everything that we paid that's for the same period of time. What's evil about them is that there's also a provision that says that if you don't apply for Social Security disability at a certain period of time,
They can cut you off.
we're going to make an assumption that you would have applied and got benefits, and so we're going to coordinate your benefits even if you haven't applied and did get those benefits. So actually those policies force you to apply for Social Security disability benefits.
Yeah, because if you don't, then they'll cut you off.
Correct. Or they'll assume that you would have gotten it and coordinate your benefits, so you do have to apply for
So
Social
when you say
Security.
that they'll assume you would have gotten it and coordinated benefits, they'll just reduce the amount that they would have paid you by what you would have gotten under Social Security disability had you applied and succeeded.
That's correct.
Well, that's good for you, isn't it? Because that forces people to file for Social Security disability.
That is good for me, but I feel bad
But it's
at
unfair.
times because a lot of times clients don't make out a lot more with a Social Security claim because they've already gotten the money
Right.
from one pocket and then they've got to pay, but it's for future benefits. It also Medicare comes with it, so that's
There's a
good.
lesson here for everybody. You know when you receive your insurance contract policy and it's that thick and you try and open it up and read it and it makes no sense? Or when you click yes to terms and conditions online and you scroll down and you see 8-point font that takes 11 seconds to scroll down, which is probably 400 pages. All of those things, every single word in those contracts are drafted by lawyers that have blinders on that say, my job is to only protect the company that's hired me to do this. I am required to include every possible thing I could throw into this document that will protect the company and screw the consumer.
Oh, it's absolutely intentional.
And nobody reads these things.
Well, it's hard
They're
to
just
read those
good
things.
Yeah. Who at this table reads terms and conditions online when you're buying an app or when Apple says you got to re-up on your subscription agreement?
See, the problem
Have
is
you ever
it's
read
really
those?
simple. You know
Yes or
what?
no?
No. You know why?
Yes or no?
Occasionally.
I would tell you. I would tell you. Yes or
No,
no?
I scroll to the bottom, you click the box
Right.
saying, yes, you've read it.
I have read them. Why? Because I've been hired to draft them occasionally. That's why. I've read
But here's the reality. If you're a consumer buying a product and you have to accept terms and conditions, your choice is buy
the
the
product or
product
not.
and accept the terms and conditions or don't buy the product. That's it.
That's
you
how
don't have any negotiating
Well, you
power.
do actually. You could go and you could shop for a similar product, but then you'd have to read all the terms and conditions of contract A, compare them to contract B, and then go forward. And then when you did that, you'd say, I can't tell the difference between the two of them, so I might as well just buy the product I want.
I had a client that came in to see me and they wanted to move to a certain apartment complex and they wanted me to review the residential lease. And I reviewed it and I said, here are some issues that you need to be aware of. She goes, can I change anything? I go, maybe if they're willing to, but it's unlikely because it's a big commercial company and you're just trying to get a residential unit. This is not a commercial unit where you have some sort of negotiating power as a
So
tenant.
what happened?
She said, thank you. She understood and she signed the lease because she made the choice.
you should still, in that circumstance, make the revisions and send them.
Yeah.
And because you have to understand something. The landlord's lease.
No, the landlord was completely unwilling to negotiate in any way, shape, or form.
In that particular case, she has a remedy, and that would be to rent a different apartment.
That was her. That's what she wanted.
But
to
that's
know.
that's a valid remedy because not all landlords are the same,
Right.
and there is give and take on some of those provisions. Because a lease written, commercial lease, shift it. Commercial lease, 10-point font, 45 pages, normal. Horrible one of the things I least like to do in practicing law is have to read and edit a lease. But in a commercial lease, they throw in everything under the sink that they can possibly put in there to screw the tenant, and they always negotiate those terms out if you call them out.
Yep.
There is flexibility there, but it is flexibility only if the tenant goes to the expense and time of hiring a lawyer to challenge those provisions. And then you're signing a 5-year lease at $8,000 a month that has a personal guarantee, that has CAM charges and everything else. If you don't have that reviewed, you are screwing yourself.
Yeah,
And a
because
smaller
it's simple.
percentage.
Just to give that example, the personal guarantee. Most commercial leases, they'll negotiate the personal guarantee down to a limitation.
Right.
So
First
maybe
year's rent
you've
or
got
whatever.
a 5-year lease. Maybe they'll make you guarantee the first year instead.
You
But
need to
For
fight for it.
for residential leases and things like that, it's still in a smaller percentage worthwhile because what happens is you get a lot of these lease terms that are not enforceable, and consumer residential leases have a lot more protections with right to rent laws and consumer protection laws. Some of those leases are written banking on what Jeff said earlier about the insurance policies that, you're probably going to go away. You're probably not going to read it. You're not going to know that they're not enforceable. If you have them reviewed, you might get better terms. You might not, and then your remedy is to go
It's a
elsewhere.
more difficult thing when you're the tenant because the tenant's usually on limited resources, doesn't want to spend a lot of money on a lawyer and so forth. In the commercial, you need to do it, but in a residential, you also need to do it. It's just an unfortunate
You
reality.
got to read the
that
fine
you
print.
because it's a big obligation and it doesn't go away, and landlords enforce their leases.
Right.
It's a tough scenario. And so back to disability. We kind of got a little sidetracked. The other one is terms and conditions that are referred to the website. You then got to go to the website to read the terms and conditions. But how long does it, when we come back from the break, I want to talk about how long does it take to qualify for disability and what are the steps people need to do to accomplish that?
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call THAV GROSS.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call THAV GROSS today, 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to announce THAV GROSS has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon Building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirschner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, THAV GROSS, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
THAV GROSS specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're THAV GROSS. Our firm will solve your problem.
You know, Dad made us promise we would never put him in a nursing home.
I know, but he found that new caregiver on the internet, and I'm getting worried.
Don't worry, honey. I know just how to take care of you.
I'm sure you do.
Maybe it's time to call Simasko Law.
You know, I've heard of them. All my friends on Facebook use them.
Take the stress out of your family's future. Reach out to Simasko Law and set a course through life's difficult times. Simasko Law, protecting what means most because that's what we do.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call THAV GROSS.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call THAV GROSS. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, so we're back. So let's focus on disability for a second. So we know someone has a work-related injury, or a work-related, or not work-related. Somebody becomes disabled, and what's the steps that they need to take to figure out whether they're eligible and how to collect Social Security disability?
Well, whether it's work-related or not, after a few months, you get a kind of an understanding. You shouldn't call me right away after just a couple months of having a problem, because that's not right. But after, like, say, the 5-6 month mark, that's when it starts to become ripe to at least start a claim for Social Security, because then you've been off for a period of time, 4 or 5 months, and you realize it's going to be a while. It could be up to a year or longer that I'm going to be unable to work, and that obviously triggers Social Security.
If someone has a catastrophic, like, accident or event, that it's clear that they are disabled and they're not getting better, should they still wait, or should they?
No, they should call me right away, especially in those type of scenarios. Absolutely,
because they're not going to get better.
To start the process, of people
months.
that have been diagnosed, unfortunately, with end-stage cancer right away, we'll guide them through it to apply for benefits right away. But typically, someone will come and see me, and I do everything. The initial application is really complicated. It's long. It's not, the questions themselves aren't complicated. The whole process, though, is complicated, and it's tedious. And I've got a system now where I do it all for my clients. So they'll come in, eventually we'll apply for benefits for them. When you apply, it's the initial application. It usually takes anywhere from 6 to 8 months to get a determination on that. People, though, especially when they do it themselves, they think, oh, I just apply. If I get denied, I apply, and I apply, and I apply several times, and that's not what you do, because that's detrimental to your claim. If you get denied, they say that you have 60 days to file what's called a request for reconsideration. That's what you need to do to keep your initial application alive, because it all depends on when you file your claim as to how far back you can get in past due benefits.
So if they refile, they're cutting themselves short based on the second
Correct. For a
filing?
Social Security disability claim, when you file your claim, the law says you can get up to a maximum of 1 year of past due benefits. So if you apply, you let your application die in the vine, you don't appeal within 60 days, and you apply 6 months later, well, now you've moved that, so you've given up those benefits.
Yeah.
For SSI claims, it's even more critical, because with regard to SSI, the law says that you can't get benefits prior to the date that you file your initial application. So people inevitably
So
apply
they're
for
gonna
SSI, get denied, and if they don't
reapply.
appeal within 60 days, again 6 months later, then they start the application again, even though they've been
Giving
stable
away.
back here,
Whereas if
you're stuck here.
If you file and you keep the application going by reconsideration and appeals, it goes all the way back to your initial filing
That's
date.
correct.
It's a big issue.
That's a critical issue, and people make that mistake all the time when they come to see me and they've tried to do it on themselves, and they keep.
What-
We heard we have to apply 3 or 4 times.
How did the cost work? Is the government paying the cost to the lawyer, or how does the lawyer get? Is there a cost to the claimant in hiring a lawyer for disability?
There's no fee up front, and I'm not entitled to a fee unless I get money from my clients. If I'm successful in my clients at any stage, whether it be the initial, reconsideration, hearing stage, even on appeals, my fee is just based on any back money that's owed to them. My fee is 25% with the cap of $9,200, so whichever is less of the two in terms of the back benefits. If they get ongoing benefits, which is what our goal is, I don't take a piece of any of the ongoing.
So it's really a nominal fee that is only paid based upon success.
Correct. If we lose, I always waive my costs. There's no fee to me, and there's no penalties or fines paid to the government because you filed an unsuccessful claim. So there is no risk to file a claim.
So I'm just kind of sizing it up in my own head, okay, and for the benefit of the viewers is, first of all, I'm a lawyer, and I consider myself a good one, that knows nothing about Social Security disability or applying. I would sit there and say, okay, well, does it make sense for myself to apply myself because I'm a lawyer and then I don't have to pay any fee if I'm successful? The answer is no, because I don't know what I'm doing. And the fee is so small in relationship to the benefit that I'm going to obtain, it's nominal and it's only paid if you're successful. So I would conclude on my end, having a law degree, practicing law for 40 years, not knowing Social Security's disability, I would be making a stupid decision to think that I can do a better job than hiring someone to do it. I'm sharing that with you because people have a tendency to think and pinch pennies at the wrong time. That's not the way you should do it. You need to get that application in and maximize your opportunity to get it approved the quickest way. Just like you say, when you want to get someone out of debt, you got to figure out the fastest, quickest, most
least
efficient
costly,
way.
most efficient
The
method. Right.
fastest, quickest way to get your Social Security disability benefits is to make sure you've got someone on your team that knows what they're doing. It's critical. I constantly see people making foolish mistakes. That's just a thought process. So, what's the time frame?
Well,
to wrap it up, short to long window on success.
it could take anywhere from, I'd say, ballpark 6 months to 18 months.
So if it's 18 months, what are you going to do in 20 seconds or less about their credit card debt and their tax problems?
Well, in all likelihood, we're going to end up filing a bankruptcy for that client to get rid of their debt so that when Jeff is successful, they get to keep all the money.
And on that note, we're going to say, have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.